Years of worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon House.
Massive human trafficking. It's a record 288 people arrested.
They're not reporting the real numbers.
The numbers are segmented and they are fictitious.
I started my career in 1997 in the United States Border Patrol. It was one of the most violent times in recent Border Patrol history. I made my bones and my reputation on that border. I believe what is happening on the border today is intentional.
We have people in the United States of America that breed children in order to sell them.
Our own government is facilitating the absolute destruction of the American immigration system, and I can prove it point by point. I'm unafraid to speak the truth. This is just data-driven and experience-driven.
Look at what our country has become. Look at it. I could have played 3 days worth of videos back to back to back, just nonstop. Look at what our country's become. Welcome to Truth with JJ Carrell. You want to know the truth? You want to hear exactly what's happening? You want to hear my take? This is where you come. You want to hear a bunch of beta males and some people on MSNBC that claim to be women but look like men, then go to them. You want to hear half-truths and half-assed lies, then go to Fox News. That's true. That's the truth. I love some of the people on Fox News, but their data is spotty at best, questionable, and lies at worst. Look at what's happened to our country. This is decades in the making. Republican, Democrats alike. Democrats are worse because they hate America at a visceral level. Republicans just like to get rich. They have no morals or values. They have no guiding North Star. They just want to graft and get wealthy while they pontificate that they're part of us. And they're not. There's a handful of them, but the vast majority of Republicans are no better than the Democrats. And this isn't just my feelings. Oh, this is what I feel. No, this is what I'm witnessing. I'm looking at it. I don't need to listen to Fox News or MSNBC or listen to politicians. I can see with my own eyes and discern what is reality and what's not. I can go to the grocery store and get 2 plastic bags with about 6 items in it in each bag, and I'm at $110. I'm still filling up my gas tank at about $2.80 to $3 a gallon. I'm seeing interest rates still hover around the 6 to 7% for homes. Credit cards at 22%. I see the money that I make now in retirement through all of my savings was just a waste of time. Why? Because inflation's eating everything completely away. Just ate it away. You think that's fair? We went from a nation where a father worked, his wife stayed at home and raised his family. They had 1 or 2 cars, a nice home. They were going on vacation 2-3 times a year. And they were able to save money. Now, and everyone out there knows this is true, the father is working 2 jobs. The wife has a job. Maybe the father actually even has a side hustle. They're barely making ends meet and running into the red monthly, so there's no savings. Vacations are, that's a fantasy. And yet, the people that rule us, and I say that, I pick my words very carefully, they rule us, are making $175,000 a year, which is not a lot of money when you talk about living in Washington, D.C. and then having a second home, their primary residence in their home state. And yet they're worth millions. Millions. They don't write books. They don't create movies. They don't create apps on the phone. They don't have a bakery store or a restaurant that they run. They don't have a construction firm that they run. They're not building anything. They're just stealing from us. I would love to start my show with, hey, everything looks great. The world America has basically isolated itself, and we are taking care of Americans, and we are spending money to make America great again. We're not building hospitals, roads, and schools and infrastructure in the Middle East. We're not going to Ukraine and backfilling their Social Security and their benefits and their pensions for their workers while ours lose everything. I would love that. I would love to come on this show day after day talking about how great this is. Look at everyone in America's come together, but that's a lie, and I would never do that. The phrase that gets tossed at me and other people like me is, wow, you're blackpilling. No, we're telling you the truth. You just, as Jack Nicholson said, you just can't handle the truth. You want me to come on here and tell you kumbaya stories. And then later in the day, when you get done watching my show, you're going to go to the grocery store. You're going to go to get gas. You're going to go try to buy some clothes, and you're not going to have enough money. And you're going to like, that guy's a fool. No, so I'm going to tell you the truth. The truth is America has never been this physically vulnerable in our history. We have never been this poor as a nation in our history, and we have never allowed our republic to descend into the pits of hell as we have now. And the people that are running our country are some of the dumbest people in our society and or the most corrupt and evil. I love Donald Trump and MAGA. I voted for Donald Trump in spite of the R next to his name. I love his picks that he has in his cabinet, Stephen Miller, etc., or people he's surrounding himself like Stephen Miller. But there are tens of thousands of administrative deep staters that hate America. Look what's happening in LA. Look what's happening in New York, Chicago last night, Philadelphia. I showed you a picture of Philadelphia. Well, it is looting and destroying. Do you know how much merchandise? That was tens of millions of dollars of merchandise in Walmart. Are you telling me that you're so angry about the arrest of, quote, migrants, illegal aliens, that you're going to go in and destroy and ransack a Walmart? And then in LA, you're going to go ransack a shoe store? This is the problem. These people are your neighbors. These are the people that you walk amongst. I'm going to make this statement because I have been battling with this thought for a very, very long time. And I couldn't really tell you when someone said or asked me, do you think people, humans, are inherently good or inherently evil? And after 24 years in law enforcement, I really struggle with that. Because every time I'd say no, I meet someone and I go, well, dang it, man, I think people are good. I'm going to tell you right now that I think people are inherently bad. I'm convinced of it. People are inherently bad. Absolutely. And when I see videos like this, I instinctively go back to the human beings have an innate ability to become animals, savages. And it doesn't take much to flip that switch. It just doesn't. This is the world we live in. I'm going to play a video, 2 minutes long. It's if this was two hours long, I'd play it, because it's Patrick Buchanan, who is, I believe, the greatest current historian living today. And Mr. Buchanan must be at the end, the twilight of his life. We haven't heard from Mr. Buchanan for about 2 years. His family obviously loves him and doesn't trot him out to make money like the Bidens do. And this man was and is ahead of his time by decades. By decades. I want you to listen to this CNN interview just a couple years ago and listen to how he just speaks the truth, and ask yourself, what he said several years ago, can that be applied today? Did he really just tell us exactly what's going to happen in 2025? Go ahead and listen to this.
Definitely over. I think China is an emerging superpower by 2020. Economically and militarily, it'll be the dominant power in Asia. And I think an emerging superpower. Look, if they just...
But we're not dead by 2025,
well, the United
right?
States
I was worried.
2025.
Hey, Caleb.
What concerns me is what's happening here at home, that we seem to be disintegrating as one nation, under God, indivisible. All those things we had, it seems to me we're losing. We are very much at war with each other. Mm-hmm. And it's over ideology, politics, religion, philosophy, everything. And the terms we're using on each other, I'm on cable as you are. Mm-hmm. I mean, every day somebody's calling somebody else a racist. We didn't use those kinds of terms on each other's, even during the Civil Rights era.
Mm-hmm. No, it's true. But your book has a chapter called The End of White America,
right?
Which it's a startling term. And I'm curious what you mean, because isn't the end of white America, as we see the rise of Hispanics, a good thing? Proof that America is a melting pot, that anybody can succeed here, no matter the color of your skin or your religion or whatever.
Well, I'm a little concerned when people say, Pat, the majority of people looking like you, that's coming to an end, Pat. So let me say this. What's wrong with this is the idea that when whites are a minority in this country in 2041 and Hispanics are 150 million, What is going to hold us together when we don't have a common religion, we don't have common beliefs about right and wrong and morality as we used to? We are at war over whether or not equality means equality of rights or equality of rewards.
The American dream, the freedom, the belief, what caused the Arab Spring, that's what holds us together.
Do people, freedom and the idea of socialist equality and freedom are in mortal conflict. I was in China before you were born with Richard Nixon in 1972. The most equal society you've ever seen. Everybody had a blue Mao jacket on, and they were the poorest people you've ever seen. Now, tyranny, much of the tyranny has been lifted of Maoism, and it's an unequal society in China. So. Millionaires and billionaires, as Barack Obama would say, and poor people. But it is freer. Freedom and absolute equality are in conflict.
Let's just look at that dimwit talking to an intellectual giant. Did you hear what she said? She equated the American dream with the Arab Spring. What? The Arab Spring, where they killed people in Egypt and went and rioted and overthrew their government? That's the American dream? Do you see? Do you see how sick the left is? And her telling Pat Buchanan, wow, white people being a minority, and you're saying, the death of white people, well, that's scary. Yeah, sweetheart, it is scary that you're advocating the death and destruction of white people who founded this country, who in less than 33 decades ago was about 87% of the population. It's now 65%. Yes, sweetheart, I do have a problem like Pat Buchanan has, that you want to remove me and my family because of the color of my skin, and you think that's a good idea. What if we just said, hey, you know what? Blacks are disappearing. They're going to be actually nothing. Oh, let's champion that. Let's promote that. What? And the reason why Pat Buchanan, he goes on later to say this, the reason why there's the Hispanic race demographics have surpassed the black race and is deteriorating the white numbers is not because Hispanic Americans were having more babies, which who gives a rip, that's fine, there's Americans, no one cares. Nope, our federal government imported tens of millions of Hispanics from Latin America and Mexico and Central America. And they claimed that's diversity. No, you artificially destroyed our demographics. What other nation on planet Earth would think that's okay? You think the Japanese would be okay? If 35% of their population got upended and you just choose the race or nationality, throw it in there, you think they'd be okay? You think China would be okay? You think Iran, Russia, you think Mexico would be okay with that? You think Honduras would be okay with that? The answer is no. And all those countries that I just spoke about, they have very, very strict immigration. Very strict immigration rules. Do you know that every nation on planet Earth has strict immigration laws? The only country that's not supposed to follow any of these immigration laws is America. America is supposed to have no immigration laws. Anyone's allowed to come here. It's absurd. We are led by the dumbest people in our society, and the top 10% of the politicians who are not dummies rule our republic with an iron fist and use those stupid people as their pawns to get things done. Do you think after World War II, even when we were starving, do you think during the Depression, when we were starving, do you think that population of Americans would have gone into their version of Walmart and ransacked the place? Do you think those men that were wearing soleless shoes would have ransacked a sneaker or a shoe store back then? And the answer is no. No, they wouldn't. Why are we doing that today? Because our demographics don't mirror what they were back then. That is the truth. You don't like that? You call, oh, you're a racist. You're a bigot. You're a xenophobe. Okay, I don't care. I don't care. All I care about is the truth. That's the truth. What's changed? What's the difference? America's been through hard times before. Diversity is not a strength. It's a weakness. Diverse thoughts, diverse beliefs, diverse skin color. That's fine. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with everything Mr. Buchanan says. He wouldn't agree with everything I said. But we agree on a common language, a common culture, a common societal norms, a common moral structure of our faith and belief of humanity, and a common belief that we have an allegiance to die for America and the flag. Answer me this. Do you see that today? Do you see a common theme or a commonality of religion, language, cultures, societal norms, moral compass, the allegiance to America, the ability and desire to die for that flag? Honestly, tell me, come on, please answer that question for me. And the answer is no, you don't. You do not have that. You have certain races that are the pinnacle of violence and death and destruction. You have people waving Mexican flags in America as they attack governmental law enforcement and government services, our infrastructure, burning cars, hurting people. And I'm supposed to believe, like that dimwit woman from CNN, I'm supposed to believe that somehow this America is better than the one where we were more alike? That diversity is a better apparatus for success? I have to listen to historical morons like her who makes the comparison between the American dream and the Arab Spring? What in God's name are you talking about? My next guest should be here any minute, but I want to talk about our sponsor, Bella Grace. Shop bellagrace.com/JJ or /truth, excuse me. Shop Bellagrace /truth. Take the Elixir Challenge, 30-day challenge. I did it and I stay on it. It helps with my inflammation. It helps with my gut, my immunity, my immune system. I don't push any product that I don't use. bellagrace.com /truth. That is a company, a product that have a plethora of stuff to use. I use their restorative sleep gummies at night when my brain can't slow down to help me relax so I can go to sleep. And I take their elixir. I use their elixir every single day. I think if I look at it, I think it's like maybe $2 a day or something like that. But it has a profound impact on my body. Go to shopbellagrace.com /truth. Caleb, can you play? Yeah, I see Abby on my screen. Can you play Abby's commercial for me?
Elevate your skin's natural radiance with the Bella Grace Dewy Serum, your go-to for smooth, hydrating, and glowy skin. Infused with nourishing ingredients, it provides deep hydration, a soft texture, and a luminous, dewy finish. Like, come on, look at that. Whether you're at home, on the go, or heading to practice like me, Bella Grace Dewy Serum fits seamlessly into your daily routine. Glow from within all day long. Bella Grace Dewy Serum. To get your hands on this product, go to www.shopbellagrace.com /truth. Start your day with the glow that comes from within. Introducing Bella Grace Elixir, a beauty secret that nurtures your skin from the inside out. Packed with natural ingredients, Bella Grace helps collagen production, reduce fine lines, and restore your youthful glow. And the best part, Bella Grace is perfect for your busy life. Take it with you on the go wherever you go. Bella Grace Elixir. Discover the secret to timeless beauty. To get your hands on this product, go to www.shopbellagrace.com /truth.
Love Abby. Abby's the best. Shopbellagrace.com /truth. Kim Yater is running a little bit late, so I want to, which is fine because I have another video. I'm looking to my left at the screen that I'm seeing my next video come up. And this is what I want. Part of this burning of LA and San Francisco, all up the West Coast, all up the East Coast, and in the middle with the Mexican flags. I want my audience to understand, if you're not from Southern California or has spent decades there like I have, there is a absolute, I mean, it's psychotic, but it's absolute belief amongst the Mexican Americans and the illegal alien Americans and the birthright anchor baby Americans, Mexican Americans, that, excuse me, that everything in the Southwest is stolen. Stolen. From Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and California is all stolen. All stolen land. And this is the mythical Aztlan. Aztlan. The people of Mexico don't even know their own history. It's frightening. I mean, you think America is stupid and their inability to know about historical events or even their own history. Well, the Mexicans are even. They're equally as dumb as the Americans when it comes to our own history and their history. Mexico was, I think, a couple decades of freedom. They have been suppressed and ruled and conquered by the Spaniards and by us. You're a subservient nation that has been under rule basically your whole entire existence. And I want to play. This is not some crackpot professor from UC Santa Cruz or UC Santa Ana or UC San Diego. No, this is a top tier senator, kind of like a don't ask, don't tell Lindsey Graham type of guy, a senator in the Mexican government, which is basically the drug cartels. And he's going to tell you for about a minute and a half about his belief. I know there's subtitles here because he's speaking Spanish to his Spanish nation, but it's important to read them because I want you to understand the vast majority, almost every single person that's out there rioting in LA, San Diego, San Francisco, believe this, and they want their country back. Watch this insanity.
Yo estuve en la Torre Trump cuando decía el presidente electo Donald Trump estaba 16 días de tomar protesta por primera vez como presidente, asumir el cargo. Y yo dije, si hacemos el muro, sí lo pagamos, pero lo hacemos con el mapa de México en 1830. Este es lo que era Estados Unidos en 1830. Y esto era parte de México, no era todo México. Si ustedes pueden ver, quizás un tercio, mínimo una cuarta parte del territorio norteamericano era parte de México hasta 1846. Fuimos despojados de estos territorios. Nosotros estábamos asentados ahí antes que la nación hoy conocida como Estados Unidos. Los tratados de Guadalupe Hidalgo establecen derechos para la gente asentada en esos territorios que no se respetaron. La ciudad de Nuevo Laredo era una ciudad mexicana, y la ciudad de Nuevo Laredo se formó con los mexicanos que vivían en Laredo y que no quisieron quedar del lado de los Estados Unidos y se vinieron a lo que es territorio nacional. Con esta geografía, ¿cómo puede hablar de liberar Los Ángeles y California el gobierno de Estados Unidos? ¿Liberarlos de quién? Los mexicanos y mexicanas que están asentados en ese lugar están asentados en lo que ha sido su patria. Los nombres no engañan. El idioma que más se habla en Los Ángeles es español. No necesitas hablar inglés para estar en Los Ángeles. Y estamos en la situación actual. Esto es parte de Estados Unidos. Sí, el gobierno de Estados Unidos tiene derecho a instrumentar las medidas que considere migratorias convenientes, ciertamente, pero no tiene derecho a violentar la dignidad de las personas migrantes. No tiene derecho a separar las familias, no tiene derecho a someterlos al sufrimiento, a la persecución, al acoso. No tiene derecho a violar la ley que el propio gobierno de Estados Unidos y el pueblo de Estados Unidos se dio.
Go pound sand, you moron. However, he does have some nuggets of truth in there. You do not need to speak English to live in Los Angeles. The number one language spoken in Los Angeles is Spanish. Has it always been this way? Has it always been this way? Nope. No, actually, that's a lie. Well, how did it happen? How did a red state like California turn completely blue? Well, Patrick Buchanan stated it perfectly in his book, Death of the West. Well, when you bring in millions upon millions of illegal aliens from a certain geographic area, Mexico, Central America, well, you're going to have a problem with allegiance. And then when your schools, actually the schools in California teach this, that this is stolen land, what do you think is going to happen? Well, you are going to not assimilate. You are going to retain your language, your culture, your customs. And then you're going to demand certain things. And then you are going to outbreed the natives in that area. And you take over one of the largest, if not the largest city in America. Boom, they did it. Now let's look at that moron's map. I was stationed in San Diego, so if I follow logic, if we were able to back then give all that land back to Mexico, the border wall would have been up in Oregon. I would have been stationed in Oregon. Why? Just because we gave them land. Are you telling me that it would be as prosperous and economically dominating now if Mexican government had control of that? Are you kidding me? All that would be happening, it would be a longer trek from the southern Mexicans to get to the northern part of Mexico to cross into the United States of America. That's all that would happen. Nothing would change. The whole entire state of California, Nevada, Arizona, Texas, it would just be swallowed up and it would just be Tijuana, a northern version of Tijuana and Juarez. That's it. Mexico's a third world piece of crap, a narco state. These people are just, they're just, that's one reason I got out of California, is just having to listen to these nimrods and then all of the white Karens and stupid beta males nodding their head. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. We're in stolen land. And then you ask these Karens that have, everything in California is multi-million-dollar homes. Well, Karen, why don't you give up your home? You have about $1 million in equity in it. Why don't you just turn it over to that Mexican family right there? And you leave and move your overweight, disgusting self in your Lululemons that you pack your body into and move to Oregon. Why don't you try that? Why don't you do that? Why don't you start a movement, Karen? And your husband that is afraid of his own shadow, doesn't know, he's maybe thinking he could be a woman now. He's trying to make that determination transition or not. Why don't you two start the movement by giving away all of your stuff and getting out of the stolen land? Of course that's not going to happen. You know that as well as I do. That's never, ever going to happen. We talk about this on our show about taking your power back with Kim Yater. And Kim is absolutely right. And she got me, we were talking one day, this is months ago, and she said, what if I could give you something where you don't have to go to Walmart, you don't have to go to Costco, you don't have to go to the big box stores and continually give them your money and then they take your money, and then they promote and fund organizations and movements that are detrimental to you. I was like, yeah, I would like that. Well, she gave me and made me contact, and then I became a sponsor, or they became a sponsor of my show, and that is patriotsmade.com. patriotsmade.com/JJ. We're now at hundreds of our viewers now utilize this store. Has over 400 products, everything you need, cleaning supplies. My thing that I use with them constantly now is power bars. They're nutritious power bars. I eat them every day. I'm always on the go, and I don't want a bunch of garbage. I don't want mRNA. I don't want plastics. I don't want poisons in my food. I just want to eat something that I know that is nutritious and that is real, and I want to be able to fuel myself. And I go to patriotsmade.com. A company in America with American workers making products for Americans. What a novel approach. And you say, well, give me an example of us giving our money to corporations and companies that produce poisons, sell them in box stores, and the box stores take our money and give it to organizations that we hate. Well, I'll give you a great example. Happened 4 days ago. A full-page color ad on the New York Times. I don't even know what that costs. I would have to assume hundreds of thousands of dollars. Caleb, you're great. You pulled that right up. I want to show you this. This is No Kings, June 14th, Mobilize. Well, who paid for all of that advertising? Who paid for it? And who's funding No Kings? Who's funding NoKings.org that shows at least 500 different locations they're going to riot and burn to the ground on Saturday? This Saturday, not Saturday 5 years from now, this Saturday in 2 days. Well, that would be Christy Walton. Who's Christy Walton? Well, that is the multi-billionaire heiress of Walmart. So when you go to Walmart today, and I go to Walmart, and you swipe your card, and instead of going to Patriots Made and purchasing something to an organization that shares your beliefs, loves their country, you're going to swipe your card or give them cash, and they're going to take that money, and she's going to get her dividend payment, and her and her brothers and cousins are then going to take those dividend payments, and they're going to fund the burning of America. You need a catalyst to go to patriotsmade.com. I don't know a better one than that. Our nation is in peril. I really believe that. We're going to see the level of vulnerability come Saturday. And this is the thing that is maddening to me, is we are still funding the NGOs that are doing this to us. Go to this X account. She's amazing, and you have to stay on it with her, because she's like a savant. She's unbelievable, and that is Data Republican. And she starts going through, and she has these computer systems where she can just burrow into these government contracts, and you begin to see that our government is so corrupt that they built this organizational structure of NGOs, and that's how they fund what they want done. They can't pass laws. No American's going to vote for open borders. No American's going to vote for vaccines. No American's going to listen to politicians. So the politicians use NGOs to funnel money to the media. They're going, for 4 years, Joe Biden paid 700 media organizations and over 6,000 journalists millions and millions of dollars to NGOs through USAID to fund propaganda of the American people. That Joe Biden wasn't old and decrepit and mentally impaired. No, he was sharp as a tack. One of the major NGOs that are funding these protests this week has a $36 million budget this year. 24 million of it came from us. We are funding our own demise. We are funding a hitman to come and kill us. It's maddening. It's absolutely maddening. Can we show this video, please, Caleb? And this is the White House. The White House is, I will say this, whoever's their PR comms guy is killing it. Because everything that we need to retain control of the House and get a new speaker in 2028, the Democrats are giving to us. They're just handing it to us. And the Republicans are coming out and they are dominating. Not the Republicans, excuse me. Donald Trump and his White House are coming out with video after video and just using their own words and their own images to show you what they, the left, has caused. Look at this new video that just came out from the White House yesterday.
A fourth day of rallies and protests on the streets of Los Angeles.
It was a peaceful rally. What is going on right now is also peaceful.
Here we are expecting rallies later on.
When they show up, we gotta show up even stronger. In Los Angeles, there is a new crowd of protesters that has been building.
CNN had it that these were rallies. Now they've become protests. I'm afraid that by tonight they become riots. If we don't have the ability to stand up and stop this violence before it consumes a great city like Los Angeles, then there's no telling where this could spread.
We have no telling where this can spread, where it can go to. They're absolutely right. We have no idea. Absolutely no idea. And if we don't get control of our nation, it's going to begin to spiral out of control. One thing that we're not even talking about is they're removing all non-essential personnel out of our embassies in the Middle East right now because war is about to begin, or war is beginning with Iran is now attacking certain countries. We don't even talk about that. And this must be a distraction as well from the world stage and what is going to have a direct impact on us, because we have treaties with all these countries. We're going to be dragged into a war, and it's going to be a world war. It's not going to be us versus a stupid country like Iraq. It's going to be us being dragged in to a China war, to a Russia alliance with China and Iran. I mean, the world is on fire, and this weekend is going to be an explosion. But what else is being covered up by these, or swallowed up, right? It's like these riots have sucked all the oxygen out of the air, and we are missing things. And I'm even looking through my feed, and I'm watching things happen, and I'm like, whoa, I missed that. Holy cow, how did I miss that? It's because everything is dominating, which it should. I understand that. But one thing that was incredible was I saw RFK Jr. given a testimony. And I'm going to read you a quote, and then I'm going to bring our next guest in, and I'm going to allow them to see this video. And this is what I mean by we don't know what's going on. It's so much, there's so many angles of attack against America and your way of life. It's amazing. Now, here's a quote from RFK Jr., who is becoming a hero. I'll be honest with you, a stone cold truth teller. There are people that say, well, he does this. I think that man is fighting a war inside of HHS, an absolute war. This is what he says, quote, "A compliant child must take between 69 and 92 vaccines to stay in school in some states, and not one of them has been safely tested in a pre-licensing placebo-controlled trial, and that is just malpractice. So the people who are in charge of that are now gone." before I bring Kurt and Kristen in from Pet Club 24/7, I just had to read that before I play Mr. Kennedy. I'm going to say that again. A child has to have 69 to 92 vaccines to stay in school, and not one of them have been safely tested. Can you play this before I bring Kurt and Kristen in, please?
In terms of the changes to ACIP, this has been a long time coming. More than 2 decades ago, Congress investigated ACIP. The Government Oversight Committee found that, for example, that year, which was 2003, they gave one example that 4 out of the 5 people who added the rotavirus vaccine to the schedule had direct financial interest in that vaccine. One of those individuals voted the rotavirus onto the vaccine and sold his rotavirus vaccine that he had in development for $186 million. He said he won the lottery. That year, Congress said that 97% of the people on ACIP had undisclosed conflicts. So people have known about this for years. You know, probably the worst example of malevolent malpractice has been adding all of these new products to the schedule without doing pre-licensing safety studies. So in 1986, there were 11 vaccines on the schedule. Today, a compliant child must take between 69 and 92 vaccines to stay in school in some states. And not one of them has been safety tested in a pre-licensing placebo-controlled trial. And that
you can start
is
it there,
just malpractice. So the people who
Unbelievable. And for reaction, I would like to bring in the owners of Pet Club 24/7, and that is Kurt and Kristen. How you guys doing today?
We're doing great. How are you doing, JJ?
I'm doing wonderful. I mean, some days I think, am I living in the Twilight Zone? This is so many crazy things. And I saw this interview with RFK Jr., and it really struck me, and I thought of you two right off the top because of the product that you have with Pet Club 24/7. But before we get into the product that I use, that you sell, can you tell me what's your reaction when you hear not 150 years ago, like 50 years ago, 40, 30 years ago, 11 vaccines, and now we're at 92. Give me your reaction to that.
Well, it's so crazy that, you know, when they passed the 1986 National Vaccine Injury Act so that you couldn't go after these vaccine companies, how all of this just escalated. And, you know, as today, when you look at, you know, and as, you know, what RFK is stating between 69 and 92, back in 1960, there were 3. And then in 83, you know, took a little jump, and then they passed this vaccine mandate, and in 2024 there was 64 on average, and then now it's clear up to as many as 92, and it's just you know, JJ, as you were talking in the beginning, and we were listening to you, and I was thinking, if I was watching a movie about all these things that are happening right now in this country, I would have the sickest feeling in my stomach and be so thankful I was just watching a movie. And it's just, it's so hard to believe that this is truly reality that we're dealing with right now. I just can't even fathom it.
Well, you guys are in Nevada right now, and Los Angeles PD, which I saw is taking control. There was riots on the Strip of Vegas. So it's happening. It's spreading everywhere. But I would like to go just, you're right. When you say you're watching a movie, sometimes I think if I was watching this on TV, that I wouldn't be able to suspend my disbelief that much. And then I would kind of fall back and go, I'm just not going to waste my time. This is absurd. This is no way this can happen, right? You're you're ripping genitals off of children and mutilating bodies, and men are now can have babies. I'd be like, I can't do that. I just can't go there, right? I can do Mission Impossible, right? And Tom Cruise jumping off of planes, blah, blah. That's exciting. I can deal with that. I can suspend my disbelief. But having 92 vaccines in our children, and I know we talk about this, and we've said this before, Kristen, it's as if the greatest creator of the universe, God, created this incredible ecosystem where everything works, except he realized that he failed when he made babies, and that he had to create Pfizer and Moderna to create 92 different shots to correct his failures. I'm supposed to believe the greatest creator in the world failed that miserably that I need 92 shots to correct his problems. And then on top of that, though, Kristen, I'd like to get your take on this, and this is what jumped out at me real quick after hearing 92. Not one of those shots have been tested. Nothing has been tested and proven, and we're jabbing our children 92 times. That's insane.
It really breaks my heart. Like I have tears in my eyes right now because it truly breaks my heart. And it was alarming when we found out how many our children had to take, and when we found out the rise from 3 to 92, like you said, in just a short period of time, in 50 years. But then to find out, we trusted these authorities, we trusted these doctors, we trusted these divisions to protect us and to take care of us and to make sure everyone was safe. And then finding out they haven't even been safety tested. And you're injecting them into the most innocent, blameless life on earth, which is a little baby. It is so diabolical. It is so evil and dark. And I'm so grateful that God is on the move and that people are stepping up and speaking out. And we were so unknowing. All of us were unaware that this was happening.
Yeah, because we trusted the doctors. You're right. My son's 13 years old. We were like, okay, of course he has to get polio. Of course he has to, of course, because I thought there was really a chance that my son would get polio. That's absurd. Right. He doesn't need any of this stuff. And then we just pulled back. We just said, no. Everything came to light for us, Kristen, when the doctor was like, your son needs to get this shot to prevent him from getting genital warts. What? My son, genital warts? My son is 3 years old. Well, he needs this to go to school. My son is not having sex and intercourse with people. What are we talking? Well, there's a probability. No, there's no probability my son's going to have sex by the time he goes to kindergarten or first grade. This is absurd. This is absolutely absurd. Now, I'm sorry I get amped up because I see this. It's all connected, right? It's all connected. Everything we're seeing, the propaganda of our lives is now coming out. And I don't know if America's ready to see everything. But one thing is remedies. How do we combat this? And you have a product that I use. Give my audience your pitch why we should use your product. I use it. I feel it. It's helping my gut. It's helping my immune system. I have remdesivir in my body. I have mRNA. I have COVID still in my body. I can feel it. I sense it. I'm not a weird guy. I just know what has been pumped in my body without my knowledge. How do I get that out? And what is your product? And why would that have any effect on what we're talking about?
Well, if you look at these 92 different vaccines that they're pumping into our kids by the time they're 5, 6 years old, and you look at what they're called, what are they called? Immunizations. They're immunizations intended to build immunity against these particular things. However, God has given us the greatest immunization possible, the most complex, the most comprehensive, the most effective, called our own immune system. That's naturally built into our bodies. And it's meant to create immunity from small things like the allergies and the colds and the viruses, all the way up to the most serious concerns or the most serious things that our body can deal with. And so when we get to the core of what's going on, there's an attack on the immune system. The immune system is under assault because it is our God-given first defense against everything. So what we need to do to get back control and to restore creation is to get back our immunity, keep our immune system supported. And God has given us everything that we need, abundantly growing in nature. You know, I hear all the time plants are medicine, right? And so what we need to do is eat the right foods that are going to continue to support that immune system so it can do what it was intelligently designed to do: repair, rebuild, regulate, rebalance everything that's happening inside of the body. Everything they've thrown out of whack, God can restore. The immune system can restore it. So we are so grateful. We don't have some special formula that we came up. We have a discovery. We've discovered a very pure and potent strain of a mushroom called the Coriolis versicolor mushroom. We've perfected the extraction process so it's as potent as it can possibly be. And all we're doing is we're feeding this food, which is no different from eating a mushroom on a salad, and putting it into the body to feed the immune system. So the immune system can be modulating what's happening and going to work. So it's not a stimulant, it's not a booster, it's an actual food that modulates the immune system. And there are hundreds of studies that have been done over 50 years now that show the capabilities of what this mushroom can do for the immune system, and then what the immune system's actually able to do for the body. Because like you said, we're never told that. We're never told how powerful our immune system is. That's never tested. We're always told what's wrong with our body and what we need medicines for and treatments for and all these different things for. They never tell us what we can do to strengthen it so that we don't potentially even need to have those medications or treatments.
I am a user of your product, and I can testify that it works. And I have a friend, Alpha Warrior, that uses because we're both cavemen law enforcement. So I use the green bottle, and he uses the blue bottle, and he uses the blue bottle for mental clarity. So I swear by your product. However, are you really telling me, Kristen, that there is a God, that somebody created all this? Are you sure that we didn't come from a mud puddle, and that on a tip of a pen, we had an explosion from nothing to everything that we see today? I lean to no God. I think you have to be completely a moron to believe it. I know, isn't it crazy? The faith that you have that Jesus Christ died on the cross and risen, that you have to have less faith like I do, that everything came from nothing. It's absurd.
I would say, yeah, faith, the faith that it takes that suddenly nothing became everything. Like, that's the leap of faith right there. That there's some, intelligent design involved.
Oh, you know what? I do believe that you pray for people, because some of the greatest theologians, look at Paul, some of the greatest Christians are people that converted from atheism. At the same time, I don't know if this is really Christian, the people that hate us and that try to hurt us, the best way is just to mock them. Just to mock their stupidity, and that's a way to get them to think like, okay, hold on a second. You believe everything came from nothing. I believe there was a divine creator that is so intelligent it blows our mind. And they sit there and sometimes it just clicks. They're like, well, yeah, that makes sense. And I go, yeah, well, you should think a little deeper on that. Well, shouldn't you? So, but we should pray for everybody because we are all fallen. But thank you so much. I love you guys. Stay safe. Don't go to Vegas. Don't go to Vegas this weekend. My wife and son are forbidden to go to any major cities. Is that crazy? Do we even live in America anymore? What are we? Are we in Beirut? Are we in Iran or something right now? This is crazy. This is crazy times.
What would happen if we went to another country and we flew the American flag and looted and pillaged and destroyed things, and we would disappear. We would be gone.
And it would be this fast. You know that. Here, I'd give anybody, and I know you'll match me. I'll give $100,000 and you give $100,000 from Pet Club 24/7. If you can go down to Juarez right now with American flag and waving it, screaming anti-Mexican slogans, and then I want you to burn police cars and punch police officers in the face. And if you can get back to America without dying, you get $200,000. There wouldn't be one person that would take that bet. Not one.
Burn the Mexican flag in front of everyone.
Yeah. We live in the Twilight Zone.
That you want to assimilate in. You want to become American. Yeah.
It's insane. You know what? Just shut up, get 92 shots in your baby's body, and go live your life. Right? That's the truth. Or do what your company's doing and fight. Right. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week, hopefully, and let's just continue this conversation. Thank you, and God bless. Kurt and Kristen from Pet Club 24/7, they are awesome. And they're Christian. I'm not saying, why would you take your money and go anywhere else? If you need something, why don't you go to someone that has the same belief system as you? Not just the same belief system as you and they suck at what they do, whatever that's roof building, building a house, laying concrete. No, they're the best. Then why would you go anywhere else? Why don't we, conservatives, I hate even using that word, America first people, Christians, America first. Why don't we coalesce around each other? Why don't we shop at our stores? Why don't we give each other our money for our products and services? What an incredible, novel idea that is. Stay strong. This weekend is going to be brutal. Be prepared, because we are in a war for the soul of our country.
You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon House.
Welcome to Technocracy News with your host, Patrick Wood. I'm your co-host, Logan House. Today, we're going to be talking about a new documentary that you're featured in, Patrick. Technocracy, this is the article about it. Technocracy, the first ever full-length professional documentary, and it's called The Agenda. And then after we talk about that, we'll go into the Bilderberg